Aloha kako, Mike here again for Kia'i Conversations. Today I have Frank with me. Frank is actually part of our Kia'i Convoy team, so I'll just let him tell us where you're from, what you do for a living.
Originally from Hawaiian side, but I'm from the island of Oahu, pretty much really. Like I live everywhere around this whole island. What I do for a living right now, events, and I cater, handle equipment, drive truck, from a little small company that is kind of big, but it is what it is.
Yeah, why did you join this movement?
Jamie Rodriguez, my girlfriend. I gotta be honest, because when I grew up, for me, when they talk about stigma, when they talk about indoctrination, when they talk about that negative connotation that is attached to what being Hawaiian is, I'm a victim of that. You know what I mean? So I was never really proud for being Hawaiian until recently.
I think that a lot of people is the same way too. Like, we haven't been giving that sense of pride until now, So I think that's a big part of it. So how would you characterize this movement?
How would I characterize
If you had
it?
to describe it or name it.
Lively. There's so many different moving pieces as far as leadership in different areas, things that come up randomly, things that have been working in the works for over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever years, and I've gotten to talk to a lot of people with more experience, and for some reason this is the liveliest it's been so far in their experience. It's not just me talking.
Yeah.
This is people that have been around, you know what I mean? So I think it's lively. I've been around for a little bit and kind of seen how teams get kind of crazy from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, it's loving. It's real, heartfelt, genuine, sincere. So like lovely and loving and lively.
That's a good way to describe it. So what has the movement taught you personally?
At some level, what I've already known, that I'm responsible for what I give and how I contribute and what my production level is, whether it be just my energy or my actual giving of myself. So it's kind of hard for me to really pinpoint and say like, oh, I learned it just from this, but it reaffirmed what I've already known about myself. Like, I'm responsible for what I do. We talk about kapola, the code of conduct, and sacred, and I've already believed that. But it's a matter of reinforcing that, and now I have different people to practice that with, and I don't feel alienated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you bring up kapu aloha, and so what does that mean to you?
I just be loving in everything that I do, and it's weird because when people think about loving, they think about being nice, kind, and compassionate, but the other side of that is being assertive, straightforward, and honest. So there's different ways to be loving without being how some people would say passive. Yeah. Which is exactly what they're doing up on Amona. They're being loving of whoever it is trying to do their job, but at the same time they're being assertive and staying with it, standing firm. So like for me, that's just kind of how I see it.
There's a fine line, between all of that, So what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the Hawaiian people?
I hate to say it, but the Hawaiian people, I think a lot of it has to do with internal conflict, internal confrontation, and inability to create dialogue within our own community Woo, that is productive and beneficial for us moving forward long term. Within the last however many years that this movement has been around, because it's been around for over 80 to 100 something years.
Yeah.
At this point, we still face some of the same issues that we faced before. The difference is there is more. I guess we're more accessible. The internet makes it easier for us. Back in the day, it was newspapers.
Right.
It was a one Hawaiian writing about another Hawaiian in a newspaper or an article or whatever. Now we can just go on Facebook and we can just talk bad about somebody.
Yeah.
So it's different.
And thousands of people can see it, and it just, wildfire.
Yeah, and I think that's just the biggest thing for me is us.
Right, and I've heard that a few times now that, the internal conflict, and I definitely agree that to move forward, we need to be united, and, because we're not going to get anywhere and we keep dragging each other down. So do you think the government cares about Hawaiians?
Selectively.
Why selectively?
A lot of the money that is generated through the state, through the federal, is specifically designated toward Hawaiian.
Mm-hmm.
So they care selectively when it's beneficial to them.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes time for be elected or re-elected, when it comes time to be appointed in on specific position or role, and that's like a lot of different things, but that's like the simplest way for me to put it is selectively, when it's to their interests.
So you really think they care about the Hawaiian people then? Like when it's time to vote, that might be a little bit different. That's why, because, hey, now I'm going to care about you because I want you to vote for me. Or do you think they really don't care and they're only going to care when it's time to vote?
I think it's hard for most people to care about something that they aren't generally invested in beforehand.
So the way we put it, yeah.
Most politicians aren't invested in Hawaiian people beforehand, so it doesn't make sense for me when all of a sudden they're pro. So the straightforward way to put it, no, I don't. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah. That was a nice way to put it, I think. So if there's any one issue that you could solve within this movement, what would it be?
Communication. Communication, interpretation. To me, I think those two things go hand in hand. But a lot of the different small tic-tac problems that pop up is because of a lack of communication, a misinterpretation of what was communicated, or an inability to straight up understand. A lot of us are uneducated, period. A lot of us are very educated, period. And whether you fall in between that, it's kind of hard for everybody to understand each other all the time. So I think communication is a big, big, big problem that needs to be solved now.
So what do you think is the most misunderstood or most mischaracterized part of the movement? Like someone from the outside looking at us, like whether it's a pro TMT person or, what do you think is the most mischaracterized thing?
That we don't like you if you're not Hawaiian. That we just angry. I think that's the big one. That we're just angry. That we're just angry about nothing. I think when people actually do their research, they go back in time, they read whatever, and now it's easier. I mean, bro, you can go Google, YouTube,
Right.
library. Like there's so many different ways for actually learn.
What is a library?
But they think we're just angry people. And that we don't like anybody that's not Hawaiian. Like that's just not the truth. there has been a slight. Let's acknowledge that. You know.
So what would you say to someone who doesn't agree with the movement or is on the fence about it? In Kapua.
Okay. So you work for 30, 40, 50 years. You teach your kids and your grandchildren how to be productive, self-sufficient, how to be a part of a system. You build on house, you build on legacy, you lay on foundation, you leave that behind, and then your next door neighbor decides, when your kids come, I'm gonna take their stuff. You know, at some point, my kids that are way, you know what I mean? My lineage, my line of descendants, somewhere along the line, if they get angry for what happened before and they decide to take action now, like, how is that wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how is that wrong? Like, something happened. Let's acknowledge that. Let's do something about it. Let's figure out what is the clear lines of contempt.
So basically, like, they should research what happened and, you know, why we do what we do. What are you saying? In a way, I guess.
And make their own decision.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think, as a kiai, what do you think is the best way you can contribute to the movement? For anyone that wants to contribute, like, you know, they want to help in any which way. What do you think is the best way?
It's hard for me to answer in one, like, because I don't have a simple answer. I believe everything starts in here, right? So, as a kiai, the best way for being helpful to me is to reestablish how much of this is actually yours. You know, and then we can move on from there. But that's, to me, that's the best foundation for what you can do moving forward, because I cannot help you if I already get a preconceived thought of what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing.
You know. So, who you want to see come on Kiai Conversations next? You know, call somebody up. The top of your head.
Kiko.
Kiko, you got mentioned again. Ah, man. Because that would be a very interesting one, I think. Because if anyone knows the Wongs, they know that it'll be interesting. So we're definitely gonna get them on. I don't care what we gotta do. We're gonna strong arm. We're gonna duct tape them down to the chair. I don't care. We're gonna get it happen. We're gonna make it happen. So again, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll put links to the YouTube and everything so everyone can subscribe, share. Again, we're trying to spread awareness and, again, you know, make a bigger picture of what's happening with this movement and the people in it, and let everyone's voices be heard. That's, you know, trying to help and do something and move forward. So, that being said, anything you want to say to everybody, to our Lahui?
Stay in good graces with each other. Love you.
Right on. So, we'll see you guys on the next one. Mahalo, Frank.